Wi-Fi. You like it what? Camden.
Because you can see.
Who's that little fella? The crazy boy, Camden. All right, but like I said, got this big tree down here, and he's in the hospital. So, and I'm gonna go ahead and stand these up. Somebody looked like was kind of observing me there. Go ahead and stand these up and start splitting them. So that vehicle going by slow, it looked like they was looking at me. Carter, you want to get the branches and drag them that pile? Go ahead and do that. Right there. There's one, that big long one. Grab it from this side. Huh? That's hollow in the middle there. Some of that wood's hollow in the middle up here around this side. Hopefully it ain't like that all the way. It don't look like it is, but I don't think it is. Yeah, I don't think it's all like that, but there's definitely some in there that's hollow. What? They did what?
Wasn't there someone in the Bible that stuck their hand in a bush?
They didn't. They were standing by a fire. It was Paul.
Really?
Yeah.
And he got bit by a snake?
Yeah, poisonous one.
And he lived?
Yeah, it didn't even hurt him.
What?
And the people there that seen him thought he was God.
Wow.
It's because of God, that's why. He shook it off into the fire, it said.
Yeah, that man right there, that was crazy, isn't it? He knew everything.
Huh?
The man that you were just talking to?
He knew everything. Oh, that he's saying that, I don't know. He also said that he wouldn't live past 50 and he's past 60 already. That's superstitious. Got a big knot in that one. This was a decent sized cleanup job. It was mainly just a big branch, but the branch was, as you can see by these rounds, the branch was pretty big. And it was some sort of oak. I'm still not sure what kind, but I can say that I feel like it isn't white or red. Definitely isn't red. I don't think it's white either. It may be pin oak. Somebody can maybe tell me. I wasn't even sure if it was oak or not. It looked like it by the bark, and it was heavy. But then when she had told me that there were acorns there, I knew it was oak, because they're the only acorn-bearing trees, as far as I know. They're the only ones that bear acorns. But it's just a cleanup job here. And didn't take too long to do, really.
It just absorbs your axe.
I think what I'm saying right there is it's very it's kind of like spongy in the middle. A few of these rounds were. The middle was kind of just, it was real like punky, rotten, and your axe would just kind of sink into it and get stuck.
Maybe.
But it wasn't too bad to split it until I got to the knots. But the thing is, a lot of this had knots on it. But what didn't have knots split pretty decent. But there were just so many knots in this wood. But we were able to get it all cleaned up. She ended up coming home while we were there. Her husband's in the hospital, and she's been staying with him. And she was telling me more about him and everything. And I've known them for years, these people. I've went to church with them. And he's not doing too good. Not doing too good at all from what she was telling me. But I ended up talking to her for quite a while, and we got it all cleaned up. She even came out and wanted to help herself and like help stack the wood and everything. And we ended up getting around 2 pickup truck loads, I would guess, from this wood here. Maybe a little less, actually. I would say a pickup load and a half. But there were some rounds that we rode down to the bottom of his hill back there because he has a log splitter. And by the time those are split, it should make about 2 truckloads of wood. We got probably around 1.5 split by hand that day. There's a really knotted piece there.
Maybe it'll take a little more.
Really thankful again too for the growth of this YouTube channel. You know, it's introduced more than one thing that's been a good thing. And Gary, the way I met him, you know, Gary McNeely and his son Brad, and how I was able to get those axes from them, and
See that?
then these boots from Brun, and then I've got some more people who have emailed me not too long ago about some things to try out. So very thankful for the growth of it and how we're getting some recognition and things like that. How it's paying off is what I'm saying. It's paying off, the work is. And there's a lot of work that goes into this, you know. There really is, in the editing and everything. And I really enjoy it. Something I'll say right now, though, I don't ever want to be like obsessed with YouTube or anything. I mean, it's something, like I said, it's more of an extension of my business, and I enjoy talking to some of the people on there and everything. I really do, but I don't ever want to be obsessed with it. I've seen lots of men, I feel like, and lots of people just grow entirely obsessed with attention that social media provides. It seems like it completely overtakes their lives, and that's something I never want from social media in any way. I was actually talking to another person who's a content creator on here a while back, and they were talking about how they were taking a break. They needed some time with their family and things like that, and that's completely understandable, you know. That's why with me, I stay up at nighttime and edit these videos. I like to do it more when my kids are asleep, but there are times during the day when I'll do it too, trying to get it done. But really, I like to, if I can, try to do it when they're asleep, because I want to spend time with my family. I've seen it to where it seems like men will completely, almost to me, seems like put their family second to a social media account. To me, that's ridiculous. Because that's time you can never get back with them, you know. Not that I don't enjoy talking to people on here, but no, my family comes before anything else. And so I don't ever want to be obsessed with it as I've seen some people on here be. I mean, it's and not just with this, with other social media things too, you know. Me and my wife have a Facebook account. It's not our account even. It's just an account to use the marketplace. It's like I named it Mike Jones. It's not even my name. I just used it. I just use it for the marketplace. And if you didn't have to have an account, to use the marketplace, I wouldn't even create one, because I ain't a fan of Facebook myself, to be honest with you. And TikTok to me is now that's probably the worst one of them all. I heard a lot of people mentioning it on here. And someone on here that creates axe handles, or used to anyways, I heard them mention it, so I got on there to see if they had some content about that, and it tried to get me to create an account. And when I was signing up, one of the things it asked was what was my preferred pronoun, and that was enough right there for me to see right from the get-go, yeah, I want no part of this. I don't want any part of this garbage. So I'm not a fan of TikTok or Facebook or really most social media, I'll be honest with you. Anyways, I'm thankful for the income from it and everything. And but you gotta think, when you're a content creator, you're making them money as well. Actually, they're making more than you are from it. From the ads, anyways, the ad revenue. Maybe you're making more from other things on there as well. So it goes both ways, YouTube's making a lot of money from content creators. But I am thankful for the extra income from it. I'm thankful for a platform that stores this kind of stuff to where we can watch it, our own footage. These are memories that I've said before with me and my family, and that's part of why I put my family in these as much as I do. It's almost like they're memories that you can look back on. And as Camden gets older, I plan for him to come too. And now that it's starting to warm up a little bit around in this area anyways, landscaping will be picking up before long. I've actually got some calls about it here recently. Tomorrow I've got a ditch to go dig by hand. And it's for a guy that he's bought firewood from me now for years, and I've done quite a bit more work for him too. I've actually got some videos of doing on here of where I went and did some cleanups for him. So tomorrow I'll be digging a ditch line for him, plan to, Lord willing. And I plan to record that. And I would like to do a live sometime. I just don't really know what I would do in a live, to be honest. It'd be work, to be honest with you. Like, I've seen some people on here that just talk the whole time during a live. And I'm probably not going to ever do that. I mean, I don't care to talk while I'm working, or every now and then but I'm just not a big talker just to get in front of the camera in front of people live and talk a whole lot. I'm just not big into it. But as far as like doing a live, and responding and stuff, yeah, I'd be happy to do that. But it'll be probably showing some kind of something that I'm doing, whether it's, felling a tree with an axe, or splitting some wood, or doing some landscaping, doing a cleanup, something, like that. But to just sit in front of a camera and answer questions, no, I'll probably never really do much of that, to be honest with you. But we ended up getting quite a bit of wood from this, as I said. And then the ones that were really knotted, and some of them there was one back there. I think you see it behind me to the right if you're looking right behind me here. It was pretty tall. So what was left, we rode down to the bottom of the hill, and I think she said later he'd be able to get that with his log splitter. So we got it all cleaned up for the most part. I've just sawdust and stuff like that, maybe branches here and there. But other than that, Carter and her stacked most of it, and I stacked very little. I was mainly just splitting. What I was saying there, it works well. And it does too. If you ever get a knotted piece and you've got it split somewhat, sometimes you can lay them on their side and split them a lot better on their side, I've found. A lot of this wood here was knotted, very knotted stuff. And somebody say, comment maybe if you realize what kind of wood this is. Is it pin oak maybe? Whatever kind of oak it is, I'm not real familiar with it. I know now that I've done black, red, and white oak. And I may have done pin oak before without realizing it, but this is pin oak. Somebody can maybe tell me. Now the tree back there behind it, I think that's a white oak. It looked a little different, but if somebody could tell me, that'd be great. Something else I'm getting into here soon as well. Definitely very interested in it. I've been interested in it for a while actually. Is blacksmithing, and it just makes sense for me, really. You know, I love axes. I do. Not just the Fiskars. I like other axes as well. The reason you see me use that Fiskar so much is because I've not really found another axe that compares much to it as far as splitting wood goes. I have other axes that will split wood, but they get stuck a whole lot, and they don't split nearly as good as that. They don't feel as good in the hands. To me, the Fiskars, honestly, that's just the best splitting axe. That's why I used it. Or that's why I use it so much and talk about it so much. But what I'm wanting to do is create something very similar to the Fiskars, maybe a little heavier, not a lot. You know, I'm not wanting a maul. I don't want a splitting maul. I want a splitting axe. The whole reason for me liking an axe over a maul. Now I'm saying a good splitting axe with a good profile, like that one, so you can split like that right there. Is so you can hit angles and stuff, you know, and it doesn't wear you out as much. When you're doing it for production, a maul like that will wear you out. And I have split production with my monster maul, which is a heavy maul. I've split production with it, but I didn't hit angles very much. It was pretty much just splitting it, and then when it fall over, stand it back up and split it and split it and split it, you know. But you see how often I hit angles, and that's why I like a good splitting axe. I like that 36-inch handle. It's almost like a pickaroon or a hookaroon, you know. You can hook the wood and move it around with it, and generate a lot of momentum with it too. I just feel like they really put a lot of thought into that Fiskars, and that's why I'm using a design that's very similar to their head, which is the blade not being very wide on it, you know, at the end, the edge. The edge is not very wide on that axe. As you see some of them like that, like the ones, the racing axes they use, how the edges are really wide. I feel like those are better chopping axes than splitting axes, I feel like. I feel like a good splitting axe, you don't need a big wide surface. I feel like actually you want a smaller surface, but a wider wedge. In my mind, that's what works good. And my experience too, you know. I have split wood for a little while now. I'm not claiming to be a professional in anything. As far as splitting wood goes, I feel very, if you could call it professional, I feel like I'd be about professional when it comes to splitting wood. I've done it so much, and I feel really comfortable with it. Chopping wood, no way. A logger, no way. I'm not a logger. Don't claim to be and don't want to be. I'm just a guy that does firewood and a landscaper, really. I'm a landscaper who does firewood and loves both. And maybe have a little bit of swinging experience. I used to play baseball when I was a little boy, so maybe that helped the swing out some, you know. Played baseball and t-ball. And when I was a little boy, I don't know why, but I was real big into like those, like medieval stuff, I guess. We're back in the older ages, you know, when they had swords and stuff. So I would go outside as a little boy, about Carter's age and younger, probably even a little older too. And for years, I would go out and we would have like big cornfields and stuff. My papa and mama would grow gardens. And they would have after it was over, you know, and it was time for it to die off, there'd be all these corn stalks out there. And I would go out there with like a tobacco stick or either just a stick. And I would pretend I was sword fighting these things and having wars with them. And I would note down how many thousands of swings I did over the years doing that. And maybe that helped somewhat, you know, with the swing. I definitely feel like having a decent swing is, well, a good swing. I don't want to say decent. If you can have a good swing, it helps. That's what you're doing when you're splitting wood, is swinging. So it helps you a whole lot, especially if you're going to hit angles, you know. Especially if you're going to hit angles. But as I said, I'm not a logger, don't want to be, don't claim to be. I have felled trees, dropped quite a few different trees, and split a whole lot of wood. And just really enjoy it, and plan to do it for many years to come. And landscaping, you know. And I also do junk removal. I think I've mentioned that before, junk removal. I did a job the other day, actually. And I may start recording some of those. All I do is go in, you know, and clean places out, you know. And I have had some big jobs. I've had a 2-story house one time with a full basement, and the house was absolutely full of stuff. We had a huge dumpster outside, and he rented one, and we filled that thing up maybe 6 times or so. A lot of stuff came out of that house. It was a really big job. But I really enjoy the type of work that I do. But blacksmithing is something I'm very interested in. Being able to design my own head. You know how I do those down the middle videos and stuff. I feel like I could really put that to use in those. because the Fiskars works good for it. You've seen me split some, if you've seen that, you know, I've split some huge rounds down the middle with the Fiskars, and I'm very well aware that splitting down the middle is not the right way to do it. It's not the smart way to do it. I'll tell you that myself. I'll tell you, like, if you're wanting to split for production, chop the sides off, you know, go for the sides and work your way around. I'll tell you that myself because it's the truth and I know it. But down the middle generates views. That's why I do it. And after I did it the first time and seen the kind of attention it got, I kept doing it. It's just a challenge is what it is, and it's something that people, for whatever reason, enjoy to see. I've got one video now that I think has around 36 million views on it, one of my shorts, which is very surprising. Another that has, I think, over 20 million, you know, so for whatever reason, people like to see it. And I get messages from a lot of Russian guys and a lot of Indian guys and places, other countries as well. And I get a lot of backlash from some of the Russian guys, but from some Americans too. But I think the Russian men are very prideful, it seems like. Or a lot of them that have messaged me are anyways. But as I said, I would just like to do my own axe, very similar to the Fiskars, really almost identical design because they've got it down. They really do. I don't think a traditional axe, you're going to find a traditional axe head that splits better than that Fiskars. I don't think you're going to. I don't think you'll find it. A guy told me before that the only thing he's ever used better that split better than that was the Adler Super Splitter. And that axe, if you look at it, the head is very similar to Fiskars. And like the Grand Fours, Brooks, or whatever you call them, and all these expensive axes that they have out there, their heads are similar in one way or another to that Fiskars. Because it works, you know. I don't think a traditional axe to where the profile just goes out slightly at an angle and increases is pretty much like a maul, you know. Like you see some of them that they're making these splitting axes and the heads are just about like a maul. It's pretty much like a maul. So you're having the weight almost of a maul and maybe a little bit lighter, and it's, you know, being called a splitting axe, really. So you're just about having a maul. That's the difference to me between a splitting axe and a maul is the weight. Because if you want to make an axe with just a big profile like a maul, that's pretty much what you're making in my mind is a maul, because the weight's going to be the same thing. You can call it an axe, but it's pretty much a maul is what it is. And that's why I like that Fiskars design, because it's all the places to where the metal isn't needed in the head in order to split, they kind of taper it over on the head. And where it is needed, that's where they, you know, make the head flare out to where it splits. And but it reduces the weight at the same time. So you've got an axe that's maybe a little over 4 pounds. I think that Fiskars head is 4.25 pounds. The axe altogether with the handle is like 5 pounds or something like that, compared to, you know, like a maul that's like 8 pounds. So in my mind, a splitting axe shouldn't be much over 5 pounds, really. You know, if you're getting into 6 pounds plus, yeah, I guess you can call that a splitting axe, but you're just about getting into a maul weight there. Or maybe 6 pounds is a good medium, you know, between a maul and splitting axe. Because mauls, if I'm not mistaken, most of them are 8 pounds. And so what I'm going for is like maybe 5 pounds or something around that, because that Fiskars works great for me, splitting production. Really, I don't even need anything heavier than it. But I'm going to try out a 5 pound. I'm going to try to forge like a 5 pound head and then make my own handle and put it together and see how it works. And I'm going to try, you know, many different designs. I'm very excited about the blacksmithing, actually. I mean, I love learning as many skills as I can in life. I don't like to just know one thing. Like I've heard other men and they seem set on, you know, being good at one thing and not learning anything else. Well, you can do that all you want, but that's not how I want to be. I want to learn as many skill sets as I can that's useful for a man. And I feel like in the old days that was a lot more common. You know, you had men that knew how to work on their own homes, and they knew how to fix this, and they knew how to fix that. They knew how to grow a garden. They knew how to slaughter their own food. They knew how to make their own clothes, all kinds of things, you know. Maybe many of them even knew how to blacksmith. I just feel like men used to be a lot handier than they are nowadays. Nowadays, it seems like people are so dependent on hiring somebody else to do the work for them, and I like doing my own work, to be honest with you. In whatever I do, that's why mechanics, you know. I didn't learn mechanics from my dad. Like right now, I can probably my dad's had me do things for him with mechanics. So mechanics is something I've learned as I got older myself and got into, and now I've got to the point to where I've changed an engine and a clutch, and I had the transmission off. All kind on my truck, I've done just about everything you can do, really. And so I like to learn anything that is beneficial. I don't want somebody doing my firewood for me. I want to do it myself. I don't want somebody doing my landscape. I want to do it myself. I want to. I don't want somebody putting my metal roof on. I want to do it myself. That's me. I've roofed. I've done those things. I haven't done concrete. I would like to learn that. It seems like it's not too hard. But a lot of the skills I've learned that wasn't passed down to me by my dad. They were things I've just learned as I've got older myself. And so as I'm 31 years old now, I don't want to limit myself. I want to keep learning from here. I want to keep learning and keep learning and keep learning. And I want to, from a young age, teach my kids those things. So when they're older, they can do things for themselves and they can help other people at the same time. And I just think that's very beneficial. It's very beneficial. My dad didn't teach me many things, and I'm not saying I regret anything at all. I'm glad as a man that I have the desire to learn these things now, because as a teenager even, I didn't. But now that from a young man, probably around 20, I started really wanting to learn. It started with lawnmowers, wanting to work on my mowers and learning things about them. Then my vehicle's messing up and watching other people help me work on them. And then I started doing it myself. And then from there, it just took off. And now I feel comfortable with mechanics and lots of things. I can do plumbing. I can do mechanics. I can do roofing. I can do construction to a certain extent, carpentry and things. So I want to learn as much as I can. And I think it's just beneficial for others to do the same thing. Don't be afraid to go out and try to learn things for yourself. Like with the blacksmithing, that's something that a lot of people might think, well, I'll never do that. I'll just hire somebody else to do it. Well, I'm going to try my best to learn it. And not only will I be able to make axe heads, I'll be able to make knives. I'll be able to make, if I need a hoe for a garden, I'll be able to make that, a shovel head, pots, pans, lots of things, wedges, metal wedges. If you can get that skill, blacksmithing, you can do a lot of things. I've been in sheet metal before, learned how to weld somewhat. I wasn't in it for a real long time, maybe around a year. And I took welding in high school for a little bit too. So things like they're just very handy to have. And I want to learn as much as I can. I do. I want to have as many skills as I can to take care of my family. I have 4 children, my wife, me. I'm the one that provides for my family. I like it that way. And not just me, though. My wife is a huge part of that as well, because she takes care of the kids, and that's huge. That's huge to me. But, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I don't want my kids at a daycare with people that I don't know. I don't, and I never will. And that's why I don't have my kids in the school system part of it. For one thing, they're so corrupt nowadays, and the garbage they're pushing, I don't want them pushing it on my children. So, but, I guess I'm maybe different in a lot of ways than a lot of people, but I'm very thankful for my life. I'll say that much. But that tree had drove that branch right there deep into the ground. I tried hard as I could to pull on that thing. I mean, I literally gave it all I had, and I was able to move it, but finally we decided for me to just cut it off. His saw was dull. They said, the guy that brought it to me said it was dull, and so I asked her if I could use it instead of using mine. That way I didn't hit the dirt with mine. And I just got it down low as I could, or low anyways, and then got my axe there and knocked it back down in there. And then I put that dirt back in there on top of it. There's still a hoe there, and that's why I was telling her she'll need to get some field dirt for it.
Oh, yeah, that's over now.
Yeah, that should do it.
Oh, yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, let's see it.
You should be able to cover it to where you never even see it.
Don't know.
Once you get a little dirt to fill in there.
Hey, where's the stick go?
Yeah, you shouldn't even be able, it shouldn't hurt nothing really. But it needs a little dirt, see that? Where that stick fell out, my goodness. Yeah. Yeah. That's it. Well, just, you need a little fill dirt or something. You don't have nothing up here, do you? Uh-huh. That's what I'd do then. Yeah, I'll get that one and that one there, because if you stepped in there, it would break your ankle, and if you stepped in it right, that one would. Yeah. It goes back that way too. If you was running or something and stepped in that and you got your leg, it might break you. Put that one, please. that's a good idea. Oh yeah. Yeah, and then by summer or really by spring, there'll probably be grass there. So in there, you can throw your little grass seed on there or something once you get the dirt there. Do you want me to put that back in this box here?
Yeah.